Welcome back to another Silver Age video. We are here at Armory in Jyväskylä, central Finland. This time around we have Pleiades versus Viserai. Viserai is a rune blade. Whenever you play a rune blade card, that reads, whenever you play a rune blade card, if you've played another non-attack action card this turn, create a rune chant token. So if you are able to play non-attack actions and follow them up with one, perhaps even more than one rune blade cards after that, in that turn you will be able to create quite a few rune chant tokens from Viserai's hero ability, which of course have various synergies with cards. Rune chant is an aura token that reads, whenever you play an attack action card or activate a weapon attack, destroy this and deal 1 arcane damage to target opposing hero. Pleiades is a guardian, a revered one at that. It has an ability to manipulate suspense counters. So remove a suspense counter from an aura you control. You may put a suspense counter on an aura of suspense you control. Whenever the crowd cheers, you create a confidence token. Confidence token being a way to give your attack action cards evasiveness, as they call it. That makes it harder to defend. Limits the amount of cards that can be defended with. Auras of suspense are cards that come in with 2 suspense counters, and at the start of your turn remove a suspense counter. When it has none, you destroy them. Edge of the Seats here as an example says when this leaves the arena, your next attack this turn gets +5. So it is a pump effect, but it is delayed due to these suspense counters. Then you have some cards such as the Suspense is Killing Me, which provide a static effect that you want to keep around. So the cards that do something when they leave are disposable cards that you can take suspense counters from with Pleiades and put them in these blue auras that provide a persistent bonus as long as you have them out. Each turn they will also lose a suspense counter, so they are temporary. You aren't able to consistently keep them up, keep them alive. Viserai here is a hero that rewards very carefully manicured hands, so to speak. If you're able to get just the right hand texture, you can really start building up some very good value from the hero ability. Ideally starting off with some non-attack action card, and then perhaps another non-attack action card that is a rune blade card, and then a rune blade attack action card, for example. If you get to do that, you're really breaking in these rune blade points of arcane damage. We'll probably expect Pleiades to be playing some kind of arcane barrier. Which lets, for every instance of arcane damage coming in, you can pay a resource to prevent one of that damage. And rune chants are each their own individual instances of damage, so if you have one piece of arcane barrier, you can prevent essentially however many rune chants you can afford to pay resources for. Here we see arcane barrier on the gloves there. And then we also see create your hoof equipment. which can give dominate to a guardian attack action card played from arsenal. Viserai has some blade beckoner pieces. And plus one spring that makes a resource. And on the arm slot, a new equipment, Beckoning Haunt. First off, Pleiades starts here with a Macho Grande. Simply sending 8 dominate. Only one card from hand. Viserai chooses to use a little bit of equipment here. 3 damage goes through. No arsenal setup for Pleiades here. Pleiades is running Sledge of Anmelheim. A fairly expensive weapon to activate, but consistently powerful with 6 power. Are typically seen in very slow matchups. For example, to Guardian versus Guardian. Here chosen, perhaps expecting Viserai to be holding back. Playing this long game. Morvian Skies keeps a Runeblade attack card go again. When it hits, create 3 rune chance. And then Spellblade Assault. Aim for, I believe, 4 damage. Did not hit, so Morvian Skies rune chance not happening. It's made 2 rune chance when attacking, and Viserai's ability also triggered, making another. Here we see a Malefic incantation. Which triggers Viserai. And, so Viserai makes it 4 there. And so there's 4 rune chance and a Reaping Blade coming in for 3. Reaping Blade. A very efficient weapon here with 1 cost and 3 power. Which is some amount. Or, yeah. Pitch to everything and blocked with everything. No damage coming through there just yet. And the turn comes back to Viserai. See a number of suspense auras on Pleiades' side of the table here. Attacking here with some card I don't know the name of. Shrill of Skull form. Some amount of damage coming through here. Pleiades chooses to keep keep 3 cards. Attacks with Sound the Alarm. Aim for 5. And and wants to take a look at that hand. A yellow malefic incantation. High notes and a blue shrill of skull form. Trot along, go again, ranting card. Damage being threatened here. Viserai might be looking to do some amount of defending. I see a defense reaction coming from the arsenal. Defending for 4 and making a root chance. So 1 damage comes through. The remaining resources spent for play Suspense Aura. Mention in the air. Viserai perhaps debating what's the best approach to get damage through in a matchup such as this. It could be risky to employ a strategy where you're just playing out each hand as they come, since that runs you the risk of not presenting good enough damage to get through. Pleiades is a guardian who is able to actually convert many hands thanks to the instant speed auras here. Trot along, wants to keep going into something. Malefic incantation triggers Viserai. The yellow version here. Weapon attack. 3 go again, thanks to Trot along. Three rinchans are paid for, and the weapon is defended. And now hit the high notes. Comes in for 6. And triggering Viserai as well as the 2 Malefics. So leaving behind 3 rinchans. He's debating, is it worth keeping any of these cards or do we just block? Decides to block 3, take 3 damage. Mission goes down to 1 counter. Pleiades decides to activate. Simply remove that counter and then play a short shrift. This comes in for 8 thanks to the pump from Tension in the Air. Threatening to take away a card if it is not sufficiently blocked. There's always the option of simply taking all the damage, giving away one card, and then sending a salvo in return. But sometimes you can't play all of the cards out, and so defending becomes a way to get some use out of the cards. And here we see that being chosen. 2 damage coming through over those 2 cards used to defend with. Discounted Amplify the Arc Knight in red. Triggering those rune chants. 3 being paid for. 1 card pending. Slap Happy also coming in to prevent 2 damage. So 1 damage coming through. But it leaves behind a Vigor token. Vigor makes a resource, which is promptly used to play Blessing of Patience. Aura that wants to gain some life. The thing of note here is that Reaping Blade does have an ability that interacts with life gain. But it says that if a hero has more life than each other hero, they can't gain life. In this situation, Pleiades has less life than Viserai, so that's not a consideration in this situation.
Well, damage is damage.
Täällä on ihan mielenkiintoisia tämmöisiä taktiikoita.
Se voisi auttaa siihen. Tätä siitä 2 meni sinne. 2.
Sigil of Sylphidae. A new card. Banishes a card from arsenal. Aura. To make a damage, and that is prevented with Arcane Barrier. Ladies, expecting those resources to be useful. Aubrey Skies. The second non-attack was already played, so Viserai is triggered. And then from Arsenal, Shrill of Skullform. Also triggering Viserai. And triggering 3 rune chats. 3 plus 7 on this attack. And thanks to Morvian Skies, it has go again, and if it hits, it creates 3 rune chants. So definitely a card that you do want to defend. There's 2 block on the chest piece, 1 block on the head piece. And we do have access to an interesting synergy with Emboldened by the Crowd here. Decides to take, prevent 2 rune chants and take 1 rune chant damage there. You see Battle of the Adored reached for, which does cheer, make the crowd cheer, Pleiades, and that means that quite confidence token is created. We see Emboldened by the Crowd played out, which costs nothing thanks to the crowd having cheered Pleiades. It's defended for 7. But this does have go again, so we shall see what happens next in this turn. The resource is available to swing the weapon. Although we can't know what that card in hand. It looks like that was a defense reaction. Debating the worthwhileness of attacking now or saving the rune chant for later, perhaps? Looking at this equipment piece here, that is an option. Reckoning Haunt. When X is equal to 0, it costs 1 resource to retrieve an aura from the graveyard you had. So decides to fetch a Malefic Incantation. Not to attack with that Reaping Blade. Goes to Arsenal, a card. The Beckoning Haunt does not say go again on its action here. Blessing of Patience gains 3 life. Back up to 15. And Sledge of Anvilheim sent on offense here. Attacking for 6.
Eli nääkin nää halus go again.
Joo, tää on muistava. Mulla oli 2 niitä, sit oli se attack-reaktioihin menevä mikä.
Joo. Joo. Tässä ei ole yhtään attack reactionia.
Mä pidin paruulta. Jos siellä saattaa olla se yksi.
Ending with some equipment and a defense reaction to cover up that 6 and make a rune chant.
Joo. Oikein hyvä muistaa tota vastaan se, että go again on niinku voi olla loppupeleissä semmoinen virhe.
On that previous turn, of course, not attacking with the Reaping Blade meant that Reduce to Rune Chant could be played for free. Well piloted there, Viserai, not just blindly attacking. Because that having to pitch a card to play that can certainly be awkward. Malefic Incantation. Coming back from the grave to create rune chants once again. Runic Felling Song, another new card. Banishes an aura from the graveyard to deal 1 arcane damage. That also triggers Viserai. Triggers Malefic Incantation. And 2 rune chants. There's a lot of triggers. A blue card is pitched to prevent Runic Felling Song's arcane damage and 2 rune chants. And looks like we'll have 2 cards defending, so 1 damage comes through. And he's holding on to 1 card, perhaps destined for the arsenal. Yes.
Annettiin sille kaverille sen koriksi, jolloin sillä on takuu varmasti se russakanteri Mitä se kori? On sulla koriksi? Mitä se on?
Siitä tulee 1 läpi.
Joo.
Ai niin, mutta se ei niin. Toi on niin, se ei ole kanteri.
Toi on se kysymys, että
niin onko, niin pitääkö se pystyä tekemään?
Viserai has 2 rune chants and Malefic Incantation with 2 counters.
Joo. Joo. Se on ihan mielenkiintoinen.
Make out the cards here, but of course weaving the cards in just the right order lets you optimize how many rune chants you get from Viserai and potentially how many rune chants are left at the end of the turn. We do see an Amplify the Arc Knight here, which cares about rune chants in order to get its discount. I'm not sure if it's a red version of the card, but the ability is the same nonetheless. Potentially a free attack if you're able to put together the right amount of rune chants. Perhaps looking to see if there's a way to make the 3rd rune chant. Viserai can make 1, Malefic can make 1. Trot along, played here. There's our pitched to play.
We don't have any oars, no.
Noi kaikki melkein siniset on pakko pelata niinku
Condemned to slaughter.
hyökkäysjoukkoja.
Your next rune blade attack is +1.
So, two triggers.
There we see a Rune Rager Swarm
So, two
coming in,
plus 4. Go.
coming in for 4 go again. And there's 2 rune chants triggered off of that. And two rune chants left behind thanks to Malefic and Viserai. 2 rune chants are pitched to... Red looks to be defending with a pummel for 2. And a Slap Happy comes from Arsenal to cover up the remaining 2. Slap Happy
Now I
makes a Vigor token.
Yeah.
Pistin häviöitä. Se on laitoksesta.
Mulla on semmonen, missä ei yhtään puolusta, mulla on tuet hyökkää. Eikö se on defense?
Yeah. So it costs 1. So it costs 6. And Viserai triggers.
By the Arc Knight is played, costing 1. Rune Chant comes through for some damage. And there's Happy by the Arc Knight attacking for 6. It's thinking, should I block 3 or 6? Chooses to block 3. Takes 3 damage. It's wanting to leverage that Vigor token. And a blue card to send a Sledge for 6. Deciding that taking 3 damage is worth getting to attack for 6. Which, on the face of it, of course, mathematically is a great proposition, but one has to consider that if this game were to lead towards a fatigue situation, this might not be the better play than simply protecting your life total and biding your time until the opponent runs out of cards is the better choice. Some equipment goes in here and 1 damage comes through. Viserai defending quite well here. Pleiades is not really getting much damage through. Turn goes back to Viserai.
Paras pääsee, kun se voisi tehdä.
Niin sanottu kummelin peltoiset. Voi laittaa.
Ei, koska mulla ei oo muuta sortteja. No niin, ei tuu kohdalla. Kakkonen. Maitti. Jaa, sit noin menee.
It's lacking a blue card here. Attacking with a Shrill of Skull form, had to pitch 2 red cards there. But its effect, thanks to Malefic Incantation, is active. So it's 1 rune chant and 7 physical damage.
Mun on pakko selvitä tässä, mutta...
Viserai doing a quick count there. How many cards do we have left? How many more turns can we keep this up? Pleiades wanting to check out what could be left in the deck still.
Jos sulla oli go-wagen, niin mä... No niin, mä en...
Pitches a red card to that rune chant. It looks to be defending with 2 cards. 1 damage goes through. Pleiades is down to 9 life. To Viserai's 13. 1 card sent to the arsenal. And it's back to Viserai. I believe we see a couple of Malefic Incantations there. A Rune Ranger Swarm. Could be a potent turn with multiple go of again effects.
I guess it's just all in every turn.
Viserai Considers going all in.
Vähän huono tuuri niistä, että täällä on neljä.
One epic incantation in yellow.
Että pystyis siis
Trigger.
antamaan
And
tosi isoja hyökkäyksiä.
in red. Viserai triggers, making a rune chant.
Mulla ei tullut Wild Rideilta peliä.
Rune Rager, triggering Viserai, one epic incantation, rune chant. One rune chant, be physical. Which is a blue card here, but rune chant. Arcane damage.
Sä pystyt vaan niinku
Makes sense to defend, probably. Fairly aggressive card there. And is it?
tuli ilmanen jamsa.
This attack did have go again, so yeah, runic felling song here. Laid out, banishes an aura, deal another arcane damage. 3 rune chants have been triggered. Viserai also triggered once more to make a rune chant.
Viimeinen vuosi. Ihan mukavia.
King barrier employed defensively.
No siis
2 cards left in hand.
Pleiades on
Blue block on equipment. We'll see some more. 2 rune chants come through here, deciding that the not worth pitching for just 2 rune chants. Defends for 2 with the chest piece and 2 with the pattern not broken, which makes some might.
Mulla oli tässä yksi odoksi. Mulla oli viime vuonna yksi, tänä vuonna ollut.
Aha. So here we see Concuss. Thanks to the might, its ability is active. When it hits, if it's power greater than its base, hero discards a card. 7 being a breakpoint here, no more equipment blocks available. If Viserai wants to stop this, they'd have to block with 3 cards. But of course, with 13 life, it's not the end of the world to take some damage and roll away a singular card.
Mä olisin muuten mennyt musiikkilihalle, mutta
That of course depends. It's all about the cards. They will do what you want them to do.
ennen kuin sinne pitää mennä päälle.
Quite possibly in this situation, it also could be preferable to simply arsenal a card here. Set up for a really big turn with those 2 malefics and everything. 3 cards dedicated to blocking, so no discard effect. Viserai
Sen sijaan Vilmailla, että mulla sanoo,
sends a Reaping Blade, threatening a lethal amount of damage, 1 rune chant, 3 physical. Also no speed, granting that resource.
mä oon bändissä muutaman kaverin kanssa, jotka asuu kaikki Mulronessa. Niin siis yksi niistäkin oli hakemassa sinne, mutta sillä kävi sama homma, että se unohti sen videokemuksen koko ajan. Me ollaan molemmat menossa samaan paikkaan. Et siis periaatteessa siis me ollaan niinku melkein kaikki opiskelemassa samalla alueella. Arttu basisti on kans siinä Viitanen kampuksen Tuvaane. Ja
As suspense is killing me in hand. Decides to pitch for the rune chant. Defend 3 with a card from hand.
jos siinä haluu kehittyä silleen
Not wanting
nopeasti,
to
se on paras
let any damage through.
tai harjoitella 20 minuuttia päivässä lähinnä.
Viserai arsenals a card. So it is attacks with short shrift.
Työelämä jää päälle.
She's attacking for 3 at present. Quite a suspicious move, perhaps.
No
signaling that there could be a zero cost card there that could pump up this card and make it threaten an actual crush effect, which indeed is the case here, since we saw the suspense is killing me in the hand there. So Viserai thinking, okay, if I defend here, then that's probably going to stop the crush effect. If I don't, I'm going to lose the card anyway. Could be a bluff, of course, in which case bummer, but of course defending an attack for 3 with a card that defends for 3 is hardly a miserable way to use your cards. It all depends on how well you're able to use them offensively, of course. Chooses to defend here. He's thinking, is it worth showing my hand? Decides that yes.
Oh, that card again.
+1. For short shrift, that means that effectively it's +2, since it gives +1 on its own.
Yeah.
2 damage coming through. Not enough to cause the crush effect. Viserai has 1 card in arsenal and 3 in hand. Time is called for the round here. Pleiades is at 4 life, Viserai at 11.
I was expecting a completely different playstyle from you, so it's a weird one for me.
Viserai wants to see how much pressure we could possibly apply this turn. Will it be enough to close the game on the final aggressive turn?
I'll destroy an aura. You destroy an aura.
Manages to destroy an aura here. With condemned to slaughter. Viserai creates a rune chant. Overian Skies here, giving go again. And an on-hit effect. Spellblade Assault in blue.
Effect of creating 2 rune chants.
I believe this is attacking for 3.
So
And there's 1 rune chant.
on create rune chants.
So that is 4 in total. Just enough to force Pleiades to give up at least 1 card. Decides to pay for the rune chant.
Yeah, 2 going.
With go again. And there's a resource available for that Reaping Blade as well. Defense for 2. No damage on this attack. There was not. The resource was not available for Reaping Blade. After all.
Probably play differently like this, but it's probably not gonna matter because you're at 11 life.
Pleiades would struggle here to present 11 damage through blocks. So I believe this concludes us with a draw for this game. It's a concuss for 6. Had that aura still been alive, this would have threatened to discard. But alas, this is of course nowhere close to lethal damage, so this game is over. Such is the treacherous
I was
block.
completely prepared for stacking because I took out like all my defensive cards.
Thanks for watching.
As I could.
That is pre-con.
I'll see you in the next one.
se ei oo voittanut vielä kertaakaan.